is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
Frank Reynolds is on vacation. Howard K. Smith is down with a summer cold. These are tonight's headlines. Police released their only suspect in the mass murder of film star Sharon Tate and 4 others. Los Angeles has had another multiple murder. Last night, a middle-aged couple was stabbed to death in a case that has striking similarities to the mass murder Saturday of actress Sharon Tate and 4 friends. Details now from ABC's Dick Shoemaker in Los Angeles.
Late last night, another bizarre murder in Los Angeles, the second in 2 days. The owner of a small supermarket chain found in his home his head covered by a white hood, a meat fork stuck in his chest. His wife, 38-year-old Mrs. Leno LaBianca, found in the bedroom dead, her back brutally cut by a whip. On the refrigerator door in the home, smeared in blood, were the words, "Death to pigs." This latest killing closely resembles the mass homicide this weekend of actress Sharon Tate and 4 others.
With absolutely no way of possibly knowing what was going to happen, August 9th, 1969, the LaBiancas returned to this address, 3311 Waverly Drive, after vacationing late at night, less than 24 hours after the murders over on Cielo Drive. The very next morning, August 10th, 1969, inside this house, Leno and Rosemary LaBianca were found dead. Now keep in mind, it's been over 50 years since the LaBiancas were murdered here, and a lot has changed, especially here, standing in front of the gate looking up at the house. If you do any kind of research online, you're going to see a photo that was taken the morning of August 10th, 1969, where there's a police officer standing right about here. Now, I point this out because this driveway that's right there, that's the original driveway. At some point, this driveway was added, and you can see this, the change in the pavement right there. It's crazy to see. Also, you see that giant bush that's in the center of your screen just behind the gate? All of that was added. And now, in 2021, you cannot see or get a clear shot of the house. And even though a new driveway has been added, if you look at the very, very top of the driveway there, you see that shingled roof. I'm not sure what you call that design, but you can still see that in the photos from August 10th, 1969. And now for a little bit of grim history about what happened here. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details because basically what you already know of this house and the murders in Charles Manson, it pretty much speaks for itself. But basically, the gist of it is this. The night after the murders on Cielo Drive, Charles Manson was not happy with how they did it. So he gathered up the murderers and they went on a drive so he can show them how it's done. They drove around, looked at a couple different places, and then he remembered of a house that was next to a party that he attended, Charles Manson attended, the year previously. So they went there, and that house is this residence, 3311 Waverly Drive, the LaBianca residence. So let's try to figure this out. If we take what Manson said literally about being at a party the year before at a house that was right next door to the LaBianca house, it leaves us one of 3 options. The first one being right there directly across the street. About the center of your screen, you're going to see a wall at the end of that road. I highly doubt it's the building that's behind that wall because it appears to be a monastery of some sort. So, by process of elimination, I'm going to go ahead and say that that house, the party house, is this one here. If I move around a little bit and get a better view of it, it's got to be that house, right? So much of the house and property has changed over the past 50 years, but I was really hoping that the pillars on both sides of the driveway were original. but upon closer inspection, I don't think that they are. At one point, if you look in the photos on the very top of them, on these ones here they're flat, but in the photos they look like they're dome. And there was a sign over on this one here which would have said 3311. That's no longer here. There's not even a marking for it, like, you know, some sort of drill marks or something to hang the sign. In Tex Watson's autobiography, he wrote that Charles Manson walked up this driveway alone to scope out the area, and then he came back and he got Tex, and they both walked up to the house and peered through the window to find a man sleeping. And then they snuck in, well, basically walked in through an unlocked door. A different account of the story is from Atkins, who says that Manson walked up to the house alone, kind of like what Tex said, but whenever he came back, that he told the followers that he tied up the occupants in the house and that they could go up. Regardless of what may or may not have happened, they took the LaBiancas into the living room, put pillowcases over their heads, tied them up with lamp cords, and supposedly, and remember, Manson was never directly involved with any of the killings, they say. Supposedly, Manson left the house and ordered them to do the killings. And they did.
The latest murders were discovered during the night. The bodies of a man and his wife found in their home. Leno LaBianca, a supermarket owner, and his wife had both been stabbed to death, repeated stab wounds. On his body, the word war had been carved in the chest. Then, with blood, the killer had scrawled on a refrigerator door the words, "Death to pigs." Hoods had been placed over the heads of both victims.
When Tex is done with Leno LaBianca, he washes the bayonet off in the sink and then takes a shower in this house to clean up. As he does that, the girls of the family, they proceed to paint the walls with the blood of the LaBiancas, with sayings like Helter Skelter and Death to Pigs. It's crazy.
With daylight, police searched the premises. They found no evidence of robbery, no suggestion of motive. A baffling crime and bizarre. The bizarre circumstances of those two murders last night were strikingly similar to the 5 murders at a home in Bel Air a few miles away 2 days before. This was at the home of movie director Roman Polanski, and it was his wife, Sharon Tate, who was one of the victims. She too had been stabbed, repeated stab wounds. One of the victims had a hood placed over his head, and the word pig was written in blood on the door. Now, today, police were searching here too. Mr. Polanski had returned to Los Angeles from London and was in seclusion with friends. And police today could but speculate whether these two crimes this weekend, so grotesquely similar, had been done by the same person, or perhaps news reports of the first crime had inspired somebody else to do the second.
From what I read online, the current owner of the LaBianca house is Zach Baggins from the TV show Ghost Adventures. But obviously the house is for sale. Not sure what the asking price is. I'm sure you can Google it and find out what it is. But why on earth would he be selling it? This seems like a perfect house for him that he would, want to buy and add to his collection on quote-unquote macabre and haunted places. Supposedly, Zach Baggins bought this house with the intention probably to live in it, but to also turn it into a museum of sorts. I'm not sure if it was going to be another haunted museum similar to what he has in Las Vegas, or a museum dedicated to what happened with the Manson family. But the locals, the people who live here in this neighborhood, were not having it. And supposedly he applied for all kinds of different permits to do certain things, and he kept getting turned down. So that is out the door, and the place is for sale again. If I had the money, I'd buy it. I don't know how much it costs, but I'd buy it if I had the money. And with that, one more look at the property before we head on. I only wish that that giant bush blocking our view of the house wasn't there. It would have been nice to see it. But I get it. Everybody wants some privacy, especially with what happened here. Right now we're in Calvary Cemetery, searching for the graves of the LaBiancas. I love how peaceful cemeteries are. So his final resting place is this crypt right here. And to be honest, I thought his wife Rosemary would have been interred here as well, possibly this one with the plaque missing, but she's not. Upon research, findagrave.com, it turns out that Rosemary, she was cremated and her ashes are unknown. So possibly the family has them, but nobody really knows. I can't find any information on it. But at least we were able to visit him. Walking around this place trying to find them, we've noticed something we've never seen before. There's a second floor to this going down below. I don't know, but we'll have to find out. That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's lovely.
We heard voices.
It freaked me out.
It freaked you out?
Well, I heard, it looks like a crypt, and I heard voices coming, and I was like, oh no, did somebody fall in something? But no.
And because this is our first time in Calvary Cemetery in East Los Angeles, first glance, it's pretty beautiful. So let's explore. From this point on, going inside this building, this mausoleum, we're going to be at whisper level because there's other people in there, and out of respect for the mourners as well as the dead, whispers. At this point, some of you can probably already imagine, but Jessica is the best person to go on these spooky, grim adventures with. I love you, baby ghoul. There's nobody down here but us. Well, there's a bunch of people down here, I should say. Yeah, well, what do you call that? The thing that you can kneel down on and say prayers to? You know, prayers to people.
I don't know what it's called, at least not a mobile one, but so echoey.
So echoey. Let me get in here.
I'm assuming it's made for visiting people on the lower paths here because they go all the way up really high. And, you know, everyone who comes to visit a loved one isn't exactly young and spriteful, so it's difficult getting back up when you come to visit somebody and you want to place flowers and do a prayer with them. So I like that this thing simply exists.
With that being said, thank you for joining us on another adventure. Until next time, happy Halloween. Jessica's over here ringing the bells.
Wake the dead.
Trying to wake the dead.
From Thomas and Francis.
Happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always coming my way.